So, I want to ask you a question. Is your psyche still affected from all the childhood bullying that you went through as a kid? Because if it is, this video is for you on how to finally feel better in your adult life and be able to get past it and move on. Hi, my name is Jody Jackson, and I am a equine communication coach slash manifestation coach. And I love helping people to manifest whatever they need in their lives, including having hard times with different parts of their lives when it's in their past. I love doing that. So today I'm going to talk about how we could finally get over these horrible feelings that have been stuck in us since childhood because of horrible bullying we've had as kids. Why? Because I went through it, I've gotten better, and I want to help you. Whenever I get better at something, I like to help others. So I'm here to do that for you today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I have this bullying. Maybe you'll be able to relate to it. Hopefully not. Hopefully it wasn't this bad. But I want to tell you that when I was young, from the time I was in kindergarten to the time I graduated high school in 12th grade, I had to go to five different schools, all because of bullying. It was horrible. Um, I was a quiet child, right? I kept to myself, but I wanted friends, but I never had them right on from kindergarten. I didn't know why people treated me the way they did. I mean, when you're little, you don't know any better. You just want to be able to play with the other people, right? With the other kids. I didn't know why they didn't like me. All I knew is that they didn't like me. And I went home and I was sad and I would tell my parents. Well, this went on up till third grade when I was in elementary school. And my parents didn't want me to have it anymore. It was hurting them just as much as it was hurting me, I'm guessing, because they took me out of that school and they put me into a private school to see if it would be better. And the kids were better in private school. They were nicer. They weren't, you know, saying they wanted to beat up on me or be mean to me, but they didn't want to be friendly with me either. They just weren't telling me. So I spent some years there. And my parents looked for even more. They sent me to a different private school that they heard did things in different ways. And they did. It was a beautiful school. They had a farm with horses and different things. But these private schools were also harder for me. And I wasn't making the grades. And my parents were spending a lot of money sending me to these private schools. So ultimately, they sent me back to public school at the worst possible time in my childhood, but they didn't know any better. I can't fault them for it. They sent me back to public school in junior high with the kids that I was going to school with up until third grade that wanted to beat me up, that were being mean to me. What I hadn't told you yet, one thing that happened to me in private school was because I was having a hard time with my grades, they thought it would be better if I was sent back a grade when I first got there in third grade. So now I'm behind a year, all the other kids, when I go back to school in public school, right? They're all in eighth grade, which is my age, but I'm back, a grade. So I go back into junior high. Oh my God, when our hormones are raging, we don't even know who we are anymore. You couldn't be, there's not a time that you could be any meaner, right, to other kids in junior high school. And now I'm going back in seventh grade, giving them yet more ammunition to be mean to me and make fun of me. And I know my parents felt horrible, but I went in seventh, eighth grade. So for me, those were the hardest years for the bullying, being sent back there. And yeah, what can I say? It was horrible. If you are watching this video and your psyche is still being bothered, right? You still have these horrible feelings stuck in you that you can't get rid of. For me, that was junior high. And to add insult to injury, I kid you not, I lived one short block away from that junior high school. But my mother still had to come and get me. She had to drive that one block to pick me up from school because those kids wanted to beat me up after school. And that scared the bejesus out of me. So my mother would come pick me up. I would have to run from the doors to the car. It was like a little horseshoe shape. And my mother would get as close as she could. And I would run to the car. And I remember my mother seeing the kids chase me outside that door and getting outside and running up to those kids going, "Don't you dare touch my child." And my heart was beating a million miles a minute getting into the car. And she had to do that until she finally went to the principal and told the principal. But that doesn't make things any better. Then I was getting made fun of for my mother going to the principal. There was no way out, right? There's just no way out of the bullying, no matter what you do. I had like maybe one friend at a time, and those bullies saw me with that one friend, and they would go to that one friend and go, "Come here, come be friends with us. You'll have more friends with us." And always took my friends away. Junior high was just clearly the most horrible time for me. They used me. They made, they acted like they were my friends because they knew I had a nice house down the street and said, "Let's have a party at your house when your parents aren't there." And I did for them to be able to make them like me. They cleaned out my parents' liquor cabinet, and boy, did I get in trouble when they came home. There was just no winning. I think finally, I was able to make some friends by the druggy group taking me in. I was smoking, I was drinking, I was smoking pot with them, but they were willing to be my friends. So I did it. It's just a horrible, horrible time. So then what happens? My parents send me back to a private school for high school, and I got some friends. It was a public school in a different town. So they had to pay again. It was the next town over from where I lived. And I did make some friends. Thank God, because the other people in the school in other cliques didn't like me either. And they wanted to beat me up. Like, can you see my frustration coming out of me? I mean, it was just horrible. But thank God I had other friends and they kept me safe. And it was just, the high school years. And I went through that and I graduated. And then here's what I want to tell you what I did to finally get me out of the way I was feeling for those bullying years, for what now was horrible feelings inside me that I couldn't get rid of. What did those horrible feelings do to me after I graduated high school? I'll tell you. I started having a personality like, now I'm going to control everything, right? I'm going to do what I want when I want. It was like a late rebellion for me when I got out of high school and I rebelled. And I was living not far out of New York City. So in the 80s. So my rebelling was going into New York City, going to clubs, smoking, drinking, still smoking pot. My poor parents, I look back on that to this day. They still put it in my face. Um, but I was doing that. But so I was having more fun, right? Because I was making friends, going to these clubs, doing things. But I was also with having this rebellious kind of personality. What also came with it was you can't tell me what to do. And if somebody did, that's where the anger came out, right? That's when I was like, I did it with cops. Oh my God, I would get stopped for speeding and I would have friends in my car with me. And the cops would come up and say, you were speeding. And I'd be like, no, I wasn't. What are you talking about? And they were like scared we were going to go to jail. Thank God we didn't. But I overcompensated for those times when I was so scared of the bullies. I I overarched and went completely the other way and said, you are not having anything to do with, making me feel bad in any way, shape, or form. I am in control of my life, right? And I just did what I wanted to do. As years passed, I realized I can't live like that anymore because, I wasn't making friends. People were pissed off at me for being the way I was. My family, my extended family, my friends started getting sick of it. So I realized I needed to, if it's like a bell curve and I was here for the bullies and now I'm here saying, you can't tell me what to do. I needed to like get in the middle somewhere and not be, so much of either way. So I did. Um, the way I did that was starting to do things for myself that made me really happy, right? I mean, yeah, going to clubs and, doing things that made me happy, but I had to start getting away from the drugs, less drinking. I won't lie, I enjoyed some drinking, just to make me feel good, but I had to curb it because I started becoming aware of who I was, right? And I was reflecting on that awareness, which gave me some clarity. And that clarity said, you don't want to be here and you don't want to be here. So what do you need to do to be here in the middle? Um, where, you're still happy, but you're not pissing anybody off. You're getting to where you want to be. You're being who you want to be. That's what I was asking myself. So I thought, okay, what makes me happy? Right? Because when I'm happy, I'm not thinking about those horrible feelings I had when I was being bullied or those horrible feelings I had being rebellious and resentful. So, you know what? I love to travel. I was older now. I was about 19. I went on trips with my parents. We would go traveling and I just loved it. It brought out another side of me. So I found something that brought out another side of me that was good and pure and made me happy and was not going to piss anybody off. Right. So I started traveling when I was 19. I started working in London. I got a visa and a passport and I went, and I know that's a big thing to do. You could try little things that just make you happy too and just do them. For me, this is what I did. I was able to, so I did it. Why not? And I went, and my God, so much came out of that. I was independent. So I didn't have to, worry about, you can't tell me what to do because I was independent. I was working at a job where I was making friends there. They didn't know me. Europeans are so different from what we are as Americans. Um, Very mature. They're very mature over there. They grow up very mature. So not to say it's a good, bad thing on either side, but it is what it is. And I loved them coming through to me like that. And I made a lot of friends. We went to the movies. We went to the pubs. I worked hard. I learned you work hard, but it's okay to play hard too, right? You could do that. I came home after 3 months there, completely different person, being more independent, um, having the more of a mind of what I liked to be. Yeah, I was that person I liked to be, right? And that's how I came home. And I just started doing more and more of what made me happy. And that made me more independent and lo and behold, more confident. I started getting more confidence. The more confidence I got, the less those feelings were, the less they mattered to me from my younger years. And they were able to come up and out of me and leave me. And it made more room for what I really wanted in me. So here I am now, decades later, and I'm just enjoying life and realizing things I never realized before because of the clarity I've gotten over the years. Here's one of the clarities that I've gotten. Those kids that bully us, this is what I think anyway. Those kids that bully us or that bullied us in the past, even if you're getting bullied now, this is still for you, right? To get those horrible feelings out of your psyche. Why are they bullying us? Why are they bullying us? That's what I thought about, right? They're bullying us because they are unhappy themselves. It made me think, what kind of lives are they going home to after school? What kind of family do they have? You know, you don't want to do that if you're a happy person, right? So it made me feel like those bullies were unhappy and misery loves company and they were taking it out on me, right? I thought that. My clarity also said, like, look, I thought about getting into cliques with the druggies, right? Maybe they felt better about themselves. They didn't have lives that were horrible, but maybe they wanted to be in those cliques, or maybe they were accepted into those cliques themselves. Because at that age, at junior high, or even younger, you just want to be accepted, right? You don't want to look bad. You want to be accepted. So there were reasons that they were doing it. They were either wanting to be accepted or the people that were truly angry took them in, and then to be accepted, they had to be mean to them, to me too, or you, right? It started making me think about why they were doing it in the first place. I was tearing it apart. I'm a Virgo though, right? 'Cause that's me. I take things apart. I want to know why, right? So that's what I was looking at. That's what I was thinking about. And um, it made me feel better. It made me feel better. So I hope my stories could bring something to you to help you pick apart or not pick apart if you're just a big picture thinker, and don't do that sort of small thing. I hope something was able to call to you and make you feel, you know what, I can't let that go. Because ultimately, that's what I did. I let it go. And man, it feels good. It really, really feels good. And that's what called to me to come here for you today. So I'm going to be coming on with, different life things that could be in common with all of us, with some of us. So I ask you if you want to join, subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is what I'm going to be doing. So thank you so much for joining or for just coming here and looking. I appreciate it. And if you are joining or just want to come next time, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Have a good one.